Alright, you two. Hayden, Nico. Alright, here is the scenario. So, in the near future, neuroscientists and computer scientists have brought their work together, and we are now able to upload our entire consciousness on a server. How do you think people would react to this?
I think it'd be 50-50. People would be for it, and then people would be like, that's stupid. That's dumb.
Stupid?
Or like, they wouldn't be for it, they'd be like against it in some way.
The thing that I've thought about with this is, there's a copy of you on the internet.
For the sake of argument, when you upload your consciousness to the internet, your body dies. This will be like a permanent thing that happens. That
You're just detached from the meat bag that defined you as human in the first place.
It's just a copy of my...
Exactly, it's not a transfer of consciousness, it's a
it's not actually this consciousness. It's an exact copy of this consciousness.
You would experience death no matter what.
Exactly. I would do it at the end of my life.
You would?
I would not do it before that.
It would definitely be very popular with people getting older. In fact, there is a Black Mirror episode where they actually discuss this very thing.
So would there be like a customer support thing then?
Customer support?
Yeah.
Customer support, like...
Do people rubber band?
Rubber band? What do you mean, like...
Yeah.
Video game, do they like jitter?
Oh, yeah. You contact someone on like the physical world and you're like, hey, I need something fixed. They like bring you up and they're like, hey, how can I help you? And they're like, my dog has no texture. Should people allowed to do this sooner than death?
Human euthanasia is already a thing in some states. You just have to meet certain criteria for it, and you're super depressed and nothing's going well for you and you kind of want to kill yourself. I mean...
You know what? Let's just go to heaven.
Yeah, let's go somewhere better.
That would be available to people.
It would take a while to get to that point.
Yeah, I think it would be something that would be generally frowned upon.
So, what about the people that don't deserve it? Who do you, someone's on death row, should they have the right to live in this virtual heaven?
Yes, but it's a virtual prison.
A virtual prison?
I don't think so. I think, honestly,
An actual life sentence.
Jesus Christ.
And an afterlife sentence.
That would suck.
That would be terrible. I don't think they would do that.
You don't think they would do that?
Not for normal people that get a life sentence.
Well, here's an interesting question. And this I don't know where this might lead to. But if it really is just a copy of your consciousness. People doing serious crimes, they die off and they do copy their consciousness to the internet. They're dead. Like their whole mind, their flesh body is dead, but their copy of their consciousness lives on. How is that like not justice if the actual physical thing that did the damage is gone, but just the copy of their mind is sent somewhere else? Like,
this person is a terrible person. This copy of this person is a terrible person. If the real person is dead, there's still this copy of this terrible person. He should not be there either.
I think it's very important if we keep a catalog of all human life.
Maybe.
Even if they're bad, they send them into this like file where they can't really interact with the digital world. They're just kind of stuck again like in a digital prison. Like,
why would the government want to spend the money on that anyways? They already spent the money to keep them in the prisons anyways, fed them, gave them clothes.
good point. That's not coming out of taxpayer money to send a criminal.
I don't know. No one would be okay with that.
Let's say someone gets their consciousness downloaded and they were fine in life, everything was great, but then while they're in the digital world, they decide to be a little malicious and somehow through the digital world, they're able to affect other people's digital lives.
You're in a computer. It's absolutely going to be able to log your activities, even your thoughts.
Of course, it's going to be able to record everything.
It's going to be.
That'd be a lot of data.
It's the nature of it. But these red flag individuals, they might be able to log their thoughts or their activities in this digital world. And if things start happening, they might have to have their logs called forward and looked through.
So if they were pre-existing in this world, and they were fine up until something made them flip their lid. I am assuming
to do horrible things in the digital world.
That by the time that we have the technology to do this, we will have a very fine understanding of the human brain, and we'd be able to look for like those kind of defects in a person.
Oh, okay. So you're saying like
it might be like embedded in the code, you know. It's kind of like DNA a little bit, but
so when you get like screened for it, they like scan your brain and they're like excited, oh, I'm so excited to do this, and they go, oh, we found this little thing in your brain that says you might be a serial killer in the digital world. We're not going to be able to do it. Is that fair to that person that's never had that thought?
I don't know if there would have to be like a threshold they would have to be inside. I don't. After a certain number of red flags and stuff, going back to Black Mirror, there was that one episode where everybody had their phones and, you know, and they could just block another person and they were just a f***ing blob at that point and they literally couldn't interact with anybody or anything.
Yeah.
That might also be appropriate. That might be something that might be implemented as well. I could see that working out in that situation.
What if, in this digital world, we can basically program whatever we wanted, right? We can program this individual's consciousness to think that they have freedom in here, but they actually don't. They're actually secluded in a very smaller part of the server and make them still think that they're influencing them. Would it be fair to just do that to them, to the people on death row outright? Just, you can upload their consciousness, have them have their own little small heaven, but you can't influence the rest of the server or the heaven or so.
If they're on death row, most of the time people are going to want them on death row.
Right, but the sense of justice has been fulfilled on the physical scale. But on a digital scale, should justice be extended in the digital world?
It will.
It will? Just because of how we work?
Because of how we work, it will.
So then, a human emotional minds influencing the digital world, do you think that's fair?
Whether or not it's fair, it would happen. Because even if it's a completely different world, it has a different set of rules.
But
It's a
we're
different
still in
person,
charge of
but
it.
we're still in charge of it,
Fair
so our feelings about it
Gotcha.
transfer over to it.
So this would just be like the ultimate MMO of all time. That you
Yeah.
can just live until the world ends. That would be excellent.
Until the servers crash. What happens when your data gets corrupted?
I imagine there's backups, and you would probably never know if the server went down.
The server was down for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and you would just
When you went for your backup, you left as if nothing happened.
Like a solid state drive, the memory stays there until it's moved, but when the power is off and turned back on, there was no activity there, so it feels like nothing happened. So that's like the ultimate like customer service or like service where it can't possibly shut down because you can't remember when it got shut down in the first place. Once you've downloaded someone's consciousness to this internet, you've got their money. And this person you've downloaded their consciousness to the internet, they don't have any relatives, they don't have any friends, they don't have anyone that knows. Why couldn't you just take the money and delete their consciousness to save room? It doesn't affect the physical world, and in reality, it wouldn't affect the digital world. And if their consciousness is gone, how would that affect someone in the physical world that already has their money?
So I imagine that would probably be an issue. There might be some shady things. I imagine it would have to be highly regulated, highly monitored by. It would probably require the government at that point.
Why would a physical government that is meant to keep human beings alive really care about digital minds staying alive? Why would they care?
they wouldn't really have
They
any
wouldn't.
reason to.
How do you think religious people would react to their afterlife being in this digital realm?
I think that they would be, when I was talking earlier about the group of people that are against it getting smaller and smaller, they would be the reason that it doesn't go away.
They would be the ones adamantly against it.
Okay.
You know,
Part of the religion probably would be, you're really not supposed to download your mind. Potentially. You know, you're supposed to go on to a real afterlife and not this fake one.
In my opinion, we created the afterlife to have comforts in death that we could somehow talk with our relatives once again in this thing called the afterlife. But now you have a way to potentially interact with a dead relative if that consciousness is uploaded. And then let's say there's a service that can be provided where you go up to the IT guy and you say, hey, John Smith, number 12367. Type some things in, and then this robot appears, and it's the personality, it's the consciousness of this loved one. Do you think, with that in mind, being able to interact with a dead relative, do you think it's healthier to have that digital person that you love be there to talk to every once in a while, or is it healthier to move on?
It depends on the person because everybody heals differently. Every brain works differently. F***ing awesome. That'd be cool as shit. But then there's other people that kind of heal a bit differently and they wouldn't be able to handle seeing the loved one that they would just lost. It might throw them into some form of hysteria. So it depends on the person.
A lot of people would be for that. But there would still be a group of people that are like, this is, yes, it doesn't matter that it's a tangible afterlife, that you can even talk to the dead. There are going to be people that are like, this is a false.
People are saying it's digital, not physical.
Digital. It's not the
it's
real
a video
afterlife.
game. It's not real.
Yeah.
But here's my argument for that. You know what we call our consciousness and our feelings, we affect each other through that. I can affect you with your feelings. I can affect you with your feelings because of my own feelings. Now, if me, the fleshy Alan, downloads my consciousness to a robot me, and I'm still acting and talking like me, and I'm still affecting you guys emotionally the same way, that means that even though it's a digital consciousness, it's still a person. If I make you guys laugh, that's me, the consciousness of Alan, making you guys laugh or cry or anything. So even though, my argument against that is, even though it could be a mind that's not made out of flesh, it could still technically be a person.
Right. It is a person, and that's the way that most people would look at it. But there would still be the group of minority, the extreme religious
just can't
people
accept
that just will not accept it. To them, it's not real.
That's also another Black Mirror episode. We're really doing a lot of Black Mirror shit today.
I have never seen that show.
There's an episode where someone loses a loved one, and then there's a service that we can upload everything they have posted on social media and download it into a robot that's a lifelike person. And that was what the episode was about.
And little they know, it's
And
a troll account.
little did they know that their loved one was on 4chan sending doxes and swatting people. And so the physical person swats
Like they
people.
go through their
Oh,
post
God.
history and it's just 400 gigs of dick girls.
We're going to end it there. So, there definitely would be a lot of philosophical reasons to do it and not to do it. Well, thank you guys for joining in. That one got a little bit dark in places and a little serious and stuff. So we're going to send you guys off, all right? So have a good one.
At least we didn't end on dick girls.